So do you see the slides?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So today I will show you my progress on automatic documentation generator for configuration values on EMQ X. So do you see the mouse cursor?
Yes.
Sure. So before we get into the topic, let me shortly introduce Cuttlefish, which EMQX uses to read config files. So basically, Cuttlefish is a converter that takes config file as an argument and generates prop lists in Run runtime. So you also have to pass schema file to let Cuttlefish interpret the config file. And there are three types of schema elements in Cuttlefish: mapping and validator and translation. And mapping is a 4-element tuple. First element is a mapping atom, and second element is a string key that points to a field in the config file. In this case, rpc.tcp client number. This third element is a mapping key, the nested location of the thing in app.config in Alan that this field represents. So in this example, I want the value 1 to be set in the application genRPC. So, and fourth element is a list of optional parameters. So you can set default value or data type, because in Cuttlefish, this is string, not number 1, it's string. So you need to transform the string 1 into integer 1. Or you can even set validators. So you can write validator functions to perform validation for mappings. The validators property of a mapping specifies which validators get run for a field. So validators can be reused on multiple mappings, and you can add as many as you want on the list. After mapping, Cuttlefish look for translation. Translation is a 3-element tuple. First element is translation atom. Second element is the same as third element of corresponding mapping. This is how Cuttlefish tie back to a mapping. The last element is a function that takes in a prop list representing the config file and returns an Alan term. This Alan term will be the value of the mapping, in this case, gen tcp.tcp client number. So this is how we convert config file into prop list in Alan. However, we have a problem when developers make some changes on the application. They sometimes have to modify schema file according to their changes. So they also need to update the documentation both for other developers and users. For developers, we need to update documentation in schema, and for users, we need to update documentation in config file and documentation in our website. But sometimes we forget to update some of them, causing obsolete documents. To avoid this, I have been working on automatic generation of documentation markdown from schema file, which I will show you in the following demo. So I have created cuttlefish e-script. So you can get the e-script by simply making reversely e-script, or even you can get it from a release note in GitHub, because we generate the e-script when the tag is pushed. So this time we generate EMQ X schema to EMQ X Markdown. So this e-script prints Markdown to standard output. So you can just redirect to file. So this is how it looks. This is intended to create a similar Markdown as what we have now in EMQX docs. So we have a description if they have any, and type or default value, or if they have validators, we have a constraint field that prints the documentation for validator. So in EMQX version 5, we plan to automatically generate these Markdown from schema. That is from my demo. Thank you.
This is great. Maintaining documents and detecting stale documents has always been a nightmare. So hopefully the single source of truth from the schema file will make the problem easier.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Yudai or comments?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Yudai.